Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're taking a look at two highlighting palettes. The DIOR Backstage Glow Face Palette and the McGrath Sublime Highlighting Trio. I decided to pair these together and review them at the same time as I recently purchased the Glow palette. Had purchased this a while ago and I did record it, but I wanted to do it again because I felt like I didn't express enough detail about how you could use this palette in combining the shades and making really beautiful highlighting combos. So we're gonna go over those today. I also wanted to feature an eye look, and I'll do it on camera using the Melt Cosmetics 27 eyeshadow palette. And because I wanted to get more eye looks on here, because especially since there have been so many eye palette launches, and I want to show you guys more looks using the different new palettes, so I decided if I ever were to do a review on another makeup item, that I will also include an eye look on here as well. Of course, it won't be as detailed as the actual review, and I will post that video down below so you could check it out. That will also mean that the zoom in will not happen. I'm sorry, you guys can't have it all, but you will see the eye look in action and the result of it. If you want to see the DIOR Backstage palette and McGrath Sublime Highlight Trio, how they combine, they compare, then please keep on watching. But before that, we will first do the eye look. Time stamps will be down below. As you know, I like to be very thorough with my reviews. Thank you very much. And if you want to skip over to another portion of the video quickly and just see that, then the times will be down below. Let's first go in with the 27 palette. Here are all the shades, and recently I did an all over matte look using Downtown and Moonchild, which I loved. Here is a photo of what it looked like that day I applied it, and I wanted to do it on here again just so you guys could see how I accomplished it. I'll just zoom you in a little bit. I also wanted to mention that I purchased another brow shade for from the Goof Benefit Brow Pencil. I didn't realize that they actually launched like half shades. This is 3.5, which is a medium neutral brown, and I thought it would be better than the 6 because the 6 is actually quite dark when I saw my footage and photos, and I thought maybe for the summertime it would be a better shade for just a tinge lighter brow. You like? Alright, lids are prepped with the Born This Way, the Too Faced Born This Way Super Cover Concealer, as well as the nice pat down with their ethereal powder. I have been loving the Born This Way concealer for an eye prep. As you know, I always love to use concealer to prep my eyeballs. I think this formula is beautiful under eyeshadow, so we're doing really good. I'm taking my Wayne Goss number 16 now with the shade Downtown. I'll take Downtown first and then I'll blend out with Nip Slip. And just take that into my crease first. I'm not sure when the Gemini palette is gonna ever get back in stock. And Laura is so funny. On the Melt's Instagram story, she wrote request on the board. It's like, what do you think we've been doing all this time? Ever since the Gemini palette sold out, all the comments on the Melt Cosmetics Instagram feed have been like, please restock. And it's like, she must know that we want it back. I'm not quite sure if I will get it, just from being disappointed with the foil shades in the 27 palette. But I just love those olive mustard shades in Gemini, and I feel they will restock. I just think maybe it's a manufacturing thing, like there's just some delay going on somewhere, because really, like, you have to restock that palette. Obviously, we all want it to be restocked. But I love this matte shade all over, and this is what I'll do. I'll start to wing it out now, and then I go in with the same brush and I'll build the color not only in the crease but as well on the lid. Now I'll go in with Nip Slip, same brush, more just higher on the edge here to smooth it out. You know what? This is why I have my clips. Like, why do you insist on doing your eyeshadow without clipping your hair back? Doesn't make any sense, Alicia. Get it together. Alright, now we got it. I'm going to take Nip Slip again and further pull this out. And I'm trying to use very light strokes because this could get really crazy, and I'm looking to soften the look closer to the brow bone. Okay, now I'll take my Luxie 231, my favorite brush to use on my lower lash line, and I'm going to blow this out and connect it to the top. When I first did this eye look, it came out perfectly. Today I'm having a little bit of trouble. You see, this side comes to an immaculate point. This side is like, what's happening? Some days I can nail it and have both eyes look the same and beautiful. But since this is a very smoky matte look, I could get away with a little bit of chaos, just a touch. Just a touch. I think I'm gonna take my GOSS number 6. This is a smaller shader brush because I'm going in with Nip Slip, and I'm looking to graze the bottom here, but further shape this side because unfortunately it got a little wild and I'm trying to salvage it, you know what I mean? I'm taking Downtown, the first shade we applied, because I want a little more smoke here on my lower lash line, and I think the bigger brush is going to give us that. I'm going to go in Naked Sleep, the first shade here in the palette, but with my MAC shader brush, and I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. I'm not sure if that's gonna do much, but it's okay. Okay, my favorite part of the eye look. I will take the same. Do I want to? Where did it go? I lost it already. Moonchild with the same number 6. And this is where I'll deepen the outer corner, but I'm also gonna take this all over my lid. I did wish this matte shade was a little richer, because when I saw the photographs on Melt's feed and also on Dana's feed, I just felt it looked super, super dark. And it is dark, yes, but I just wanted a little bit more. Just a little bit. Taking it on the bottom here. I love this combination, and if the foils suck, at least the mattes are gonna give me something. Do you know what I mean? You could also work in Whiskey Neat. I did try that when I did this look for the first time. It didn't give me enough intensity, enough definition that I wanted. That's why I just skipped right over to Moonchild, and I think this is a good combination. Now, just for the sake of it, I will take Crime Fighter on my pinky because I think my skin is gonna help stick the eyeshadow a little bit better, and I'm placing that on my inner corner. I'm just gonna dust off any residue that gave. All right, the eye looks basically done. We're gonna go in and curl these lashes. I do want to come back and try one more thing because I think although it's cool tone, it's really pretty. You know, just more eye looks in all the videos. It's all fine. Too Faced Better Than Sex Waterproof. Okay, final decisions about the Kush mascara from Milk. Not crazy about it. I just feel it's so goopy, and it's funny. I feel a lot of people feel the same about the Better Than Sex. I think the more you use Better Than Sex, the better the texture becomes. It just gets a little drier, and I feel builds up better on the lashes. And Kush might do the same thing, but I just feel it doesn't give me enough curl. It kind of just sits on my lashes, and I don't like the end result. And also I feel it's wet, like it's very wet, and it makes my lashes feel heavy and they don't lift up. I got a new tube of my Too Faced, and I'm sticking with her until I find something better, because in the meantime I don't like what's out there currently. And also helpful too with the new tube of Too Faced to kind of wipe off the excess, because it can get a little goop on the first application when you first take the wand out, but after that, like, the volume it builds is just really nice. Look, I got it on my lid. No, no. Why does that happen? I don't understand. I'm gonna let that dry and just blend it in when it does. I'm not crazy about this on my lower lashes, but I haven't purchased another extended plate from MAC yet, and it's like I've been using the same tube for months. Don't do that ever, because this transfers, but since I'm not going anywhere, I don't need to worry about it transferring because I'm going to take this off, so it's all good. Alright, this is the eye look. What do you think, friends? I really like it. Maybe not a great idea to put Crime Fighter on the inner corner because it does darken it a bit, but I thought it was a nice coppery shade to incorporate in the all matte look. Certainly choose something else, but I just wanted to show you how the mattes worked by themselves on their own on the lids, and I just think it's a really beautiful summer matte eye. Alright, so let's get into what we were really here for. Recently, I purchased the Glow Face Palette from Backstage. Maybe I could take these pins out now. Excuse me. The whole concept behind Backstage is to give you a glimpse of what it is like backstage in fashion shows and just like that whole couture life. How quickly makeup artists have to work, the models have to get on the runway quickly, and they have to get this makeup on. And it's definitely different as a makeup artist when you have so much makeup to go through. Ideally, you want to see the compact and what the contents are right away. That's why it is made here, and this is the box. Just wanted to give you a little glimpse of that first. Very shiny. And that's why the lid is clear. And I know a lot of people commented on how cheaper the packaging looks compared to a typical Dior packaging. This is one of their highlighters, and it's because if you are a makeup artist and you're rummaging through everything, you want to be able to see right away what makeup this is. If you see this, you could technically turn it over, but I don't know, maybe you will forget what 003 looks like, and you're just able to see what the colors are through the lid. That's how it is with their contour palette, their eyeshadow palettes, as well as their foundations, which all come in like a clear squeeze tube with a matte finish. I felt that the Glow Face palette for me was the one thing that was worth buying from the entire Backstage collection. I didn't want to be a loser, so instead I just was a creeper in Sephora and swatched everything for you guys on my skin just so you know what it looks like on my skin shade, color, tone. Here are the swatches for the contour palette, which I was not impressed by. One shade was like the deepest, warmest shade on here that would come up on me. Maybe the cooler contour shade would. I just wasn't crazy about the texture of the lighter shades. I felt they were very powdery, and $45 I think is how much it cost. I didn't think it was worth splurging on something that I will only use half of, and I just felt I had more makeup in my collection. I thought that would just perform better on my face. Onto the eyeshadow palettes. Here is the warm eyeshadow palette. Again, the shimmers were okay. They felt okay. Wouldn't know how well they performed on the lid, but based on the swatches, I felt they could have had a little more punch, or I have eyeshadows that I think are much more saturated and shimmery than the ones in this palette. The one shade I feel everyone is pulled to is that orangey tan shade that everyone would use as their transition. And of course, the deeper shade that you can use to increase intensity. Again, I have these shades and I felt that it wasn't worth, even though it's Dior, it wasn't worth putting down $45 for when I knew I would just buy it because it's Dior Backstage, and that just wasn't enough for me to justify the purchase. Here is the cool tone shade, which actually based on Temptalia's reviews performed a lot better than the warm palette, and these shades are beautiful. I've experienced that as much as it is fun to leave my comfort zone and try out cool mauvey plummy tones, these are particularly cool, especially that light pink shade. Like if I were to apply that on my brow bone, it would appear, I feel, very chalky on my skin tone. Now for the foundation. I managed to swatch, I think it's 4W, 4 cool, and 4 warm olive. 4 warm looked warm on me, and unfortunately the tester for 3N wasn't on the rack. I didn't know where it was.
But wait, there's an update. Between the time I filmed, edited, and uploaded, I managed to visit Sephora, find a 3.5 neutral, and swatch it for you. I would wear this color if I were to buy this foundation, but I'm not, and I just wanted to show you the shade. Thanks for listening. Bye!
So I wasn't able to swatch that. I'm sorry, you guys, if you were wondering if 3N or any of the 3 shades could remotely work on you if you are similar to my skin tone. The reason why that I'm not buying this foundation is because the second ingredient listed is alcohol. I'm not putting that on my face. I've been really diligent about my skincare and avoiding products that contain alcohol. Alcohol is very drying to the skin, and that's also what kept me from buying Dior Forever, which is highly regarded and a favorite amongst beauty influencers, namely you know who. And I did try it for a while because I had a tester and it looked beautiful on the skin, but the fragrance and the alcohol content I just think isn't worth dealing with. I'm not sure how much of an effect it will have on my skin if I was just wearing it once in a while. But again, if I'm going to spend $45 on a foundation, I will want to wear it more than once in a while. They also had a brow palette, a lip palette that I was not gonna buy. That's why I just settled on the Glow palette, because I think this was one of the better products out of the collection. I think this has received better reviews, and I love highlighters, so if you want a comparison in terms of the ounces and the grams, the Glow Face Palette Backstage is 10 grams and 0.35 ounces, $45. The original Dior Skin Nude Air highlighter, this comes in at 6 grams and 0.21 ounces, but for $56. Here's the thing though, the compact does come with a brush. It also comes with a velvet sleeve. It's very beautifully packaged, and that speaks volumes as to how much of a role packaging plays in Dior pricing. Both made in Italy, and they both have a 12-month expiration shelf life. You definitely get more bang for your buck with the Backstage palette, but the packaging is not going to be as luxurious looking as the original products. Now we get into Pat McGrath Sublime Highlighter Trio. When it first launched for early access, $68, but then I received an email to say that it bumped down in price, $50, and they were nice enough to credit back the $18. In Sephora dollars, I'll take it, because when am I going to stop shopping at Sephora? Never. 12 grams of product, 0.42 ounces of product, which is this is more product than the Glow Face palette. We're looking at a difference of 0.42 minus 0.35. Mathematics. This though has an expiration 18 month. They're both made in Italy, so those are the similarities in terms of where they are coming from. This is packaged in a beautiful cardboard palette. It has like your typical Pat McGrath like graphics on here. I'm not sure where she gets this from. You have the Pat McGrath logo here on the corner, and it's hard to see, but here are all the details, including the palette name and the ounces. When you open her up, then you'll have this beautiful trio of highlighters. I think this is like the perfect arrangement of color, because you have the pink, the gold, and the bronze. We'll get into comparison swatches right away, because I also know you want to know how well these look on the skin. Oh my god, I'm so hot. Okay, let's get into... Oh wait, I gotta do the thumbnail. Let's first swatch the Glow Face Palette from Dior. You got strobe. I'm sorry. White, gold, pink, and bronze. And you see that the highlighters have the Dior the logo on there that I just messed up because I'm a little aggressive with the finger swatching. Now we got the swatches from Pat. Here's Iridescent Pink 003, Fine Gold 003, Bronze Nectar 003. You could see that pale gold from Pat almost has like a little bit of like green going on. You see it next to the gold from Strobe Dior palette. It's like wild, man. The bronze is a significantly deeper bronze than the one from Pat. The iridescent pink from Pat is a little powdery compared to her sisters, but I think when you'll see, I'm going to do one side Dior and the other side Pat, that I like this pink better than the one from Dior, and I'll tell you why. Okay, now let's see what this looks like. I'm excited. First, show you what gold looks like on the cheekbones. So here, let's take gold. I'm gonna use the Dior mirror because I forgot my bigger one. Oh, that's dirty. How you like that gold? What I like to do is just tap a little bit of the white on top to layer it and to give it extra pop right here. How do you like that? Now the pink. I rather put the pink from Pat's palette on my cheeks. The pink on my cheeks from the Dior palette, I don't know if I like it on my cheeks. I'm gonna apply it just at the end of where gold stops. So and then I'm gonna combine it a little bit. I mean, it's okay. I do like it. I just like the iridescent pink because the iridescent pink from Pat has a little more pink to it, where I feel when the light hits this shade, it turns out a little white-ish on my skin. But what I like to do, instead of putting it on my cheek, I'll just apply this more on my cheekbone because I think it looks better there when I combine it with the gold. And I think that actually looks very pretty. Now let's talk about this bronze shade. The bronze shade has a pearlescent finish, and I could actually get away with this as a contour shade. It does leave a sheen, but I was very surprised. I was experimenting last night, and I was like, let me see if this could work out. I'm gonna go in my Wayne Goss #2 brush. I'm gonna get in the bronze, just lightly under the highlight shade. I'm just gonna deepen this a little bit. And see? And then I'm gonna get circular up in here and combine the highlighter shades. Because I already have bronzer on, but if you want a little bit of more depth, do be careful. I would recommend that you spritz for sure because it could get a little highlighty. But I think the texture of the Glow palette powders are beautiful. Just see how soft and buttery they go on the skin. They don't look glittery, they don't look chunky. You can layer them and they will still look smooth on the skin. And although these are not comparatively to some highlighters that are on the market and that I have used, I like that soft lit from within glow, and sometimes it's a nice change from the ultra high shine metallic finishes that these highlighters could yield. And that's what I think I love most about the Glow palette from Dior, is how sophisticated the formula is. Again, layering it without looking powdery. You can combine the shades. I love how it can use the bronze shade as an enhanced contour if I just wanted a little more depth, but it doesn't look too crazy. And I was wondering how I could use this shade because I was using it before closer to the cheekbone area and I wasn't loving how it was combining with the gold shade, and I thought maybe I'll just use it as a contour shade, and it works out pretty well. I love it. You could probably also use this on the lid, I feel, if you think the bronze shade is just too deep for your face. But for my deeper skin tone peeps, you could definitely use this shade, I think, as a beautiful sheen highlighter. I'm not sure how highlighty it will show up because I think the Bronze Nectar from Pat is going to be better for that purpose. Because I have 003 from the Air Luminizer, I will swatch this next to the gold from Glow palette. Here's gold from the strobe, and here's the Air Luminizer. I feel the Air Luminizer has a little bit of more like white gold. They look similar, but I feel this is giving me more of like a yellow. You know what I mean? Okay, let's get into Pat because I know you're waiting for Pat. I can feel it. All right, Pat, where are you? I'll first apply pale gold on my cheekbone. This definitely takes on more of a gold than the one from Dior's palette. Definitely a deeper gold, which I feel works out better on my skin tone, especially now in the summertime. Is getting a little tan. I think this formula is gorgeous, and I'll show it to you up close again. I'm not sure how Pat does it, man, but these textures here, this is from Pat, I mean, I don't know how she manages to like make the reflectiveness of this highlighter is, I just can't understand how she does it. It's gorgeous, it's soft, it's reflective, but it's not glittery, it's not chunky. It still applies smooth to the skin. You can layer it and layer it again like the Dior palette without it looking nuts. But I also wanted to show you what this looks like with Bronze Nectar, and I'm placing it right under gold, pale gold, just so you can see, like right under, because I think this pairs really nicely and it gives it just an extra bit of glow. Like technically, if you wanted, you could apply Bronze Nectar first and then layer over pale gold. But here's what I really wanted to show you. I want you to see Iridescent Pink. Now, Iridescent Pink, a little powdery, more so than Bronze Nectar and pale gold, but dude, when you buff this into the skin, it shows up pink, like whoa. And what I discovered is when you combine Iridescent Pink and pale gold, I mean, I already have a bunch of highlighter on, but just you wait. Like, it gives off the prettiest iridescent pink finish on the cheekbone. Look at that gradient. I think it's gorgeous. And it kind of reminds me of the new Anastasia highlighter palette, the Dream one that has like the unicorn shades in it. That palette I read is very chunky and glittery, but this color reminds me of one of the shades in there. And I think if I wanted to recreate that unicorn highlighter look, I could just put Iridescent Pink on my cheekbone and have like a different type of highlighting effect. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, and the way, again, it blends, as you've been seeing, I love buffing in my highlighter shades in circular motions because I just feel it blends into the skin better. It looks more seamless, more buttery. Put a little pale gold on the cinnamon now. And here is the Pat side and here is the Dior side. Now, the Dior side, as much as I love the texture, I feel it is a little light for my skin tone. It does give me a really beautiful highlight, and here is a close-up of how the shades look. You can see the pink that we applied here more on the cheek area, and then it goes more into the gold, and you see a little bit of that white highlighter on the top of my cheekbone. For Pat, I just feel the gold is more gold in my skin tone spectrum. And I think it just gives me an overall warmer look. And especially with combining Bronze Nectar with pale gold, I think it's just a beautiful combination. Quickly, I'll show you what Bronze Nectar looks like next to the bronze from the Dior palette. And you'll see the Dior palette is much richer in shade. Here is Bronze Nectar from Pat, and then here is the bronze from Dior. And this is why you'll see I could get away with this using as a contour shade, whereas Bronze Nectar, I could apply a little lower than the gold shades, but I wouldn't apply it right on my cheekbone, like the hollows of my cheekbone rather. I'm happy I have both, and I'm happy that I gave the Glow palette from Dior Backstage a chance. I do appreciate the color scheme more from the Pat McGrath Sublime palette on my skin tone. I love the fact that I could apply this shade as a contour shade, and just so we're even, I'm gonna apply that on this side. Like, look how, oh my god, getting out of hand. You only need to go with the lightest amount, Alicia. Obviously, you just want more than that. I think it's gorgeous. I love it. What do we think? Well, first, let us do a spritz. I have to get lipstick too. I think the spritz is crucial in ensuring that these highlighters look beautiful on the skin. Oh yeah, that's what we're going for. Woo! Look at that. Oh, I think it's gorgeous. The bronzy highlighter shade, I feel it does not look glittery on the skin, on the hollows of my cheek. In fact, I think it blends in beautifully with the lighter highlighter shade on my cheekbone. Let's take a look on this side, on Pat's side. I don't know, man. I freaking freaking love Pat's highlighters. I'm so thrilled she launched a highlighter palette because I have so many of her eyeshadow palettes and they are very heavy. The big ones, the smaller ones are not, and I feel the smaller 6-pan ones are easier to travel with. And although this still is a little big to travel with because it's not that thin, I feel if I were packing a bigger makeup bag that this is a lot more reasonable than her Mothership eyeshadow palettes. Can you imagine if she launched a Mothership highlighter palette? Maybe with blue, greens, and like, ooh, maybe she's cooking up one now. You never know with her. Definitely spritz your highlighters after you're done with all your makeup. Let me get a lip. Hold on. I'm just gonna do the Fenty Gloss Bomb because she was just behind me and Alright, what do we think? Let me know down below which side you like better. If you got the Pat palette, if you got the Dior palette, if you have the 27 palette from Melt Cosmetics, have you been liking it? What looks you've been doing with it? Again, I am NC42 MAC, but now in the summer I did get a little tan. I even go to the beach just from walking around and doing my life. I think I got like 1 or 2 shades tanner, and because of that I just feel the Pat McGrath is doing me right a little better than the Dior Glow palette. The Dior Glow palette, again, the textures are immaculate. I just love how smooth they are, and they are foolproof. If you're not great with highlighter, or you feel that every time you apply highlighter it looks a mess, you can use this palette and not screw up, because the way it blends into the skin and it doesn't sit on the skin powdery or textured, I feel you will be very successful in using this palette. The Pat is the same thing. Pat McGrath's palette, beautiful seamless powders that I feel when you circularly buff into the skin leave a beautiful finish. Probably one of the best highlighter palettes right now on the market, I feel. And I just again wanted to show you the 27 look that I did the other day that I fell in love with and I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know what you think down below. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, thoughts on any of the products that I used on this video. Everything that I use on my face will be listed down below. And if you want to follow my adventures in between YouTube uploads, here are my social media handles. I'll be better about Instagram storying. I'm trying to be better about that, forgive me. And of course, would love to hear your comments on anything you've been recently trying and any thoughts you might have on launches that are coming up. And that, my friends, is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until then, I'll see you on here again with another video, chit chat, review, demo, or instant swatchification. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.